If you want to look lean, capable, and attain the athlete's physique, then you can't do that by just training like a bodybuilder, but you also won't get there by training like an endurance athlete. So in this video, I am going to show you the exact blueprint I use to get my guys lean, strong, and capable as fuck with minimal time commitments. I am Coach Lithgow and I help guys build bodies that are aesthetics first and performance second, because the reality of training is that you are likely doing it because you want to look a hell of a lot better. But if there is no improvement in your athletic performance, then you will never improve in terms of your physique. So today I am going to be breaking down the formula, how to get leaner and look better whilst actually gaining strength. Now, most fellas go wrong in one of two ways. They will go into pure bodybuilder winter arc mode, where they will just lock in, get themselves in the gym, and they look great with a pump on. But the reality is that ask them to run a 5 or 10K and they will be completely fucked. The other end of the spectrum is going into pure running cardio machine mode, which I personally have coached a lot of people who have been running that approach until they eventually came to me. And ultimately that just makes them look a little bit like a string bean. They've got no muscle whatsoever. Yes, they can perform, but they can't lift heavy and they are much more likely to get injured. Now, the aesthetic athlete sits right in the middle of the spectrum. They are ready to show and they are ready to go. Now, there are 3 pillars to building an incredible athletic physique. And number 1 is having that strength and hypertrophy backbone. For me and 99% of the guys I train, that looks like either a 3-day full body split or a 4-day upper lower split. And if I am brutally honest, I much prefer the full body approach because it means that we are not having to suffer through leg days, which I know all of us fellas absolutely fucking hate. But by running the full body split, it means that we have a much shorter window of opportunity to actually hit each muscle group, meaning we are going to apply a lot more effort when there are only 2 sets of barbell bench in to hit your chest or 2 sets of hamstring curls in to hit the legs. Now, as with any good strength training program, we will be looking towards a compound focused program. We want to prioritize the real meat and potatoes of our lifting: squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, but we also want to throw a lot of machine work in there too. Machines are an excellent option because they provide stability and allow us to hit the target muscle whilst minimizing overall systemic fatigue. Of course, it goes without saying that when we are training, we need a really high proximity to failure. We need to be leaving literally 1, 2, or maybe even 0 reps in the tank. Context dependent, of course, on the movement. For smaller muscle groups, we can pretty much go to failure all of the time because they recover so much faster. But for larger muscle groups where there are a much greater amount of fibers like legs, chest, and back, we can't constantly train to failure, or we are going to start quickly running into some issues and some plateaus with our lifts. Remember, these sessions need to be no fluff. We can't be having 30, 40 set sessions. I would literally just pick an upper push, an upper pull, a lower push, a lower pull, and then a couple of accessories where we are performing 2 warm-up sets and then 1 to 2 working sets per movement. Pillar number 2 is conditioning for capability. For me right now, I am training for a marathon, so running covers all of my conditioning needs. But when I am not training for a race, I am usually doing some pad work with my coach, who is also called Leighton, on a Saturday, and incorporating either a short or long run on the Tuesday, depending on how I am feeling. Remember, when it comes to conditioning, it's not all about zone 2. Sometimes we'll have to go quite balls to the wall, but our ability to do that will depend on how much life stress we are taking on in general and how hard we are hitting our gym sessions too. If we have a really tough full body day on the Monday, it's probably not feasible for us to go out and run a 20k on the Tuesday. So potentially keeping it short and intense will allow us to recover properly before our next full body session. Now, if I was you, I would choose modalities that you enjoy, which is exactly why I do Muay Thai, boxing and running, because all of these things are quite fun to me. But it can look like swimming, tennis, badminton, sprinting, pretty much anything that gets you out of breath and that makes you smile. Having a high level of conditioning helps you recover faster, it helps you move better, and more importantly, it covers the one base that bodybuilding training does not, and that is athleticism, which is going to be a really important component for you as you age, because as we know, the first thing to go is our speed. Pillar number 3, and possibly the most important of them all, is lifestyle and nutrition. Now, the majority of fellas think that balance means Monday to Friday we eat good, we train hard, Saturday, Sunday we binge drink, and then we spend the next Monday, Tuesday slowly recovering before we can finally hit a good session again on the Wednesday. But in reality, if you want to perform, if you want to look good, you have to massively throttle your alcohol intake. For me right now, I'm running Malaga Marathon in 2.5 weeks. I am not drinking. I'm just completely cutting it out of my diet because there's just no net positive to doing so. But if you do enjoy a drink, I would say keep it to 1 to 2 units per week, as I would say that is the maximum amount that we can take in without it having a massive subsequent effect on our training and our recovery. Now, of course, we also have to consider life stress. You are never going to build a physique if you are not staying on top of managing stress. As we know, when we are stressed, cortisol spikes, and when our emotions are high, our logic is low, and therefore our rational decision-making ability is massively hampered. Whether you think it is or not, we just can't perform when we do not have a clear mind. So incorporating things like steps, time in nature, reading, journaling, and literally just getting off your phone and stopping stimulating yourself with all the shit that's going on Instagram and YouTube all the time will work wonders. Now, no one is saying that you have to live like a monk, but you cannot pretend that you are locked in if you are treating every single weekend like it's your birthday, eating shit, drinking all the time. That is not going to get you a result. So the real question is, how do we apply this immediately? Well, the easiest framework is one that the majority of my programs are built off of. It's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split of full body training, and then we would use the Tuesday and the Saturday for our cardio. This means we have 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off, but we are cycling our training in such a way that it allows us to fully recover and perform in both our runs, cardio, and our strength training. The second thing we want to do is track one metric, whether it's your body weight, whether it is measurements around the hips, whether it's your 5K time, or your 5 rep max for barbell bench press. We need to be ensuring that metrics are tracked, otherwise we have no idea of knowing whether we are just spinning our wheels or whether we're actually making progress. The third step is incorporating lifestyle rules. For me, having a run on a Saturday stops me from having a drink on a Friday, but yours can be something as simple as 8,000 steps per day, non-negotiably, or ensure that I order the shopping every single week on a Friday so that I'm never left short-handed and with a lack of healthy options. Remember, once you have implemented one of these small rules, we can start to stack them on top of each other to see some big results. The long and short of this is, if you want to be leaner, stronger, more capable, then you need to lift heavy, you need to move fast, and you need to live every single day with intention. We also need to make sure that we are managing our mind, because that is ultimately the thing that is carrying us through this whole process. And if you want more content on becoming an aesthetic athlete, subscribe, because there's new videos coming every single week. Or if you're interested in knowing how I have transformed the lives of over 400 individuals with my online coaching, then literally just comment on this video with the word ready and I will send you some information over.